as a deep freeze grips Tulsa. On the east side,
Tulsa Police.
Yes, I just wanted an officer to do a welfare check on my grandfather.
What is his name?
Cecil Busby. I haven't heard from him since Friday.
she says Cecil lives alone, and no one has heard from him in 2 days.
And how old is he?
65.
Does he have any pets?
Yes, 8 pit bulls.
I gotcha. What's the address we go out to?
East 1st Street.
All right, I will get someone out there to check on him.
Thank you.
Charles Police.
As officers try to make contact,
Blood.
You see blood?
Yeah. Leading to the hallway.
Oh god, we can see an arm on the ground.
Oh, you're right.
Have your taser ready.
He's for sure down.
He's got blood on him. There's a knife there, too.
Dog is in the back room.
Tulsa Police, anybody in here? Oh, there's blood all through here.
Blood here.
Blood here, up on the wall, over here. Tulsa Police!
Tulsa Police! Hey. Hello, how are you?
Brother,
You're his brother?
where's he at?
Well, he's passed. I hate to tell you.
Where'd he die?
He's in the house right now. And it'd probably be better if you didn't see him right now.
Okay.
Come here, mamas.
So the dog does have like an injury to the left side of its neck.
Good job. There's blood all over. There's blood on that knife. Exactly. On the outside.
There's blood on the doorknob, too.
for homicide detectives, their chance of solving a murder is cut in half if they don't get a lead within the first 48 hours.
Matt's up, so this is Matt's call. It is cold.
It's a little chilly.
Detective Matt Farrell has been with Homicide for 2 years.
So we got a guy deceased inside the house.
Yeah, he's up in the hallway. Cecil Busby.
65-year-old Cecil Busby was born and raised in Tulsa. A retired assembly line worker, he enjoyed collecting antiques and spending time with his pit bull named Karma. Cecil leaves behind a large extended family, including 5 siblings and several nieces and nephews. Cecil is dressed in pajama pants and a robe.
He's got cuts in the back of his neck.
He was stabbed 12 times in his head, neck, and back.
He's shot.
Cecil also suffered a single gunshot wound to the back of his head.
It's Sunday. Looks like he's been down maybe a day.
Detectives believe Cecil may have been killed late Friday night or early Saturday morning.
He been stabbed 12 times like that, then shot. I mean, that's rage, man.
Yeah. We're missing a gun from the scene. In that frame.
In the door jamb above Cecil's body is a .22 caliber bullet fragment.
On the hallway floor, The steak knife, it's bloodstained.
I mean, you have blood in the hallway. You have blood in the kitchen.
There's some blood drops where the steak knives are at. Well, maybe they got in a little
fight.
Got a little fight.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that Cecil maybe went and retrieved a knife. Our suspect gained control over that knife, ended up stabbing him. Eventually, a gun was brought into play, and Cecil was shot with that.
And then it looked like his dog had a cut on him. There's a possibility that dog may have jumped on who may have done that.
Animal control treated Karma's injury and will hold her until Cecil's family decides where she will live.
Hey, we got meth.
Got what?
Meth. Residue, but it's there.
Looks like they were kind of going through some stuff.
Hey, Maddie. This wallet's gone.
There's blood here, smears on the door, around the doorknob, leading out of the house. Maybe the suspect got injured. There's a possibility we could get some DNA back. Be sure to swab the handles and the lock. Thanks, guys. So we got a guy named Cecil, shot once in the head, and he had about 12 stab wounds. We know that the victim's wallet's missing from the house. So we're not sure if this is something that's personal, a robbery gone bad, or what.
He's going to ask you a few questions. That way they have a little bit of information, okay?
Okay.
How are you? From the brother. He has a little red Nissan, little SUV that's missing from here. Nissan Juke. The car was here Friday, but the brother came over here yesterday. It was missing, and there was no response from the house. He said that Cecil owned a .22 caliber revolver, which we haven't found. It's possible that's what he was shot with. It sounds like Cecil, he had used drugs in the past, but he lives over here in an area that's known for homeless and drug addicts, which from the brother, sometimes he would take those people in and let them stay here. So that's another angle that we'll have to look at.
Two hours in, detectives canvass the neighborhood.
Tulsa Police.
I'm Detective 1, TPD Homicide. How well do you know your neighbor across the street?
I lived here about 6 years.
When was the last time you actually saw Cecil?
I saw him Tuesday or Wednesday, and he looked better, like he was clean.
The neighbor says Cecil was battling an addiction to methamphetamine.
He's been trying to do good. He's been on the straight and narrow. He sold the house, he was getting away from everybody, and then...
Okay. You don't have cameras by chance, do you?
No, but he does.
All right. Okay.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Hello. Tulsa Police. Does your camera work?
Yeah.
The neighbor says his camera points toward the street and agrees to look through the footage.
Thank you. So from here, we're gonna go back to the office, look into this car that's missing, and just kind of go from there.
Back at headquarters.
It's a Nissan Juke. I'm getting ready to pull it up on Flock.
Farrell checks license plate cameras for Cecil's car.
That's our victim's car. So it hit on the 17th. That would have been Wednesday.
It was last picked up by the cameras 4 days ago.
The brother said the car was at the house on Friday. It'd be nice if the neighbor picks it up leaving. We're gonna contact the media, give them the information about Cecil's car, and hopefully someone recognizes his car and calls it in.
The next morning,
I talked to the neighbor that has the surveillance video. I'm still waiting on the actual video. But right now, he sent me several photos from his video. Let's see. So this is on the 19th.
The images show the street in front of Cecil's house on the evening the team believes he may have been killed.
Yeah, you can see where the car is parked there. That's my victim's car at the house. The dark-colored SUV shows up at the house. You can see it parked there at 504. They were there 10, 15 minutes. Then that car leaves. That could be our suspect. A small SUV. Can't tell if it's black or a dark blue. We got to figure out what kind of car this car is.
Hours in.
It's cold.
The team hopes the possible suspect vehicle was caught on surveillance cameras near the crime scene.
There's a camera right over here at the weed shop.
Holy what'd you do?
You better watch it.
I was being so slick.
Yeah. How are you? We look at your video. Got a picture of the car. That's the car we're looking for. Thinking probably a Chrysler. You can't see a tag. We're just gonna go back and start getting on Flock and looking for this car. I'm just gonna go through our system here.
Farrell searches license plate cameras for the possible suspect vehicle.
Located this car on Flock, which is, I would say, the same car. It's got the stickers, the mufflers on this side, the taillights are the same, the wheels are the same. Let's see.
Farrell runs the license plate number.
And that tag number comes back to
It comes back to a man in his late 50s.
He lives within a mile of Cecil's house. I have no idea what their connection is to Cecil. We'll run by there, and I would love to see Cecil's car out there, but we'll see.
As detectives prepare to head to the vehicle owner's house,
one of the warrants guys just posted a call that looks like Cecil's car in a parking lot.
Cecil's car has been located at an apartment complex several miles from his house.
Okay, so you found it.
It's been there for a couple days.
A resident of the complex recognized it from the news and contacted police.
Okay, we're gonna head out there.
Sounds good. That be it?
Yeah, it is.
It looks like it hit something. I mean, somewhere, because it really did a number.
Oh, dang, yeah, it did.
Of course, I didn't open it, but you can kind of see in there. I didn't see any blood, really.
Who called in?
You did, Miss.
You did?
She noticed.
Well, thank you for calling in.
Early Saturday morning at 4:15, that red car was there.
She says she noticed the car the day before Cecil's body was found.
It made me nervous when they said it was a victim.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm still shaking.
Do you know if they have cameras out here?
No, we don't have any type of security cameras outside.
Well, thank you very much for your help. Did you get a no-touch on there?
Yes, sir.
Farrell will have the car towed back to headquarters for processing.
This is man. No cameras nowhere, man.
Yeah, I know.
You know, that's there's no reason that there's no camera should be on this building.
It's important that we talk to the guy that owns the Chrysler, see what he knows about Cecil's murder.
The next morning,
Went to see our Chrysler owner, and he's agreed to come downtown and have an interview. Hello, I'm Detective Farrell. And this is Detective Warren, and we're working a case that happened a few days ago, okay? There's a guy named Cecil Busby, and he lives over there at East First Street. Okay, he was killed the other day. And through our investigation, we go and we get a bunch of video, and we pick up your car over there, and it's seen leaving and all that. So that's how we get to you, okay? It would have been on Friday evening around 5 o'clock, okay? Do you remember where you were at then?
No, not really.
You don't know Cecil.
That's correct.
And you weren't over there at East First Street?
I don't know where that's at, really.
Is that your car?
Looks like it, yeah.
Okay. This is Cecil's house, and that's your car in the driveway. So I just need to know why you were over there.
Me and him, I think we had kind of a relationship going on there.
So you went over there on Friday around 5 o'clock.
Yeah. To have sex.
Okay.
How long have you been knowing Cecil? I met him in a bar about a year ago or so, I think it was. He would text me, and I would go over there.
Okay. Is that what happened that night? He texted you, and then you showed up over there? Do you mind if I look at that on your phone?
Yeah, I deleted it off there. Because I don't want my wife to see it.
So you went over there on Friday at 5.
Was he fully dressed when you went over there? He would have like a robe on, usually.
Okay.
Somebody killed him?
Yeah.
Huh. Looks like I'm in a pickle.
Did you kill him? You didn't kill him?
No.
Do you know who did?
I didn't even know he died.
Did he mention anything about having problems with somebody or anything like that?
He never did say much of anything. It was just like I go in, we do our thing, and then I leave.
Can I look at your hands real quick? Okay. You mind just taking a jacket up? Okay.
All right, man. Well, if you remember anything, just let us know.
I appreciate you coming down.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, I believe it.
I just don't get this feeling that he's the murder suspect.
A half hour later.
The neighbor sent us more images from his surveillance video. It shows that black car leaves.
Several minutes after the vehicle owner drives away.
My victim's car leaves.
So, I mean, he's still alive Friday, just past 5 p.m.
We know he came back at some point after he left. I don't know if maybe he came back from the other direction and that's why the neighbor's camera didn't pick him up.
But your boy said something that kind of stuck out. He said When he went over to the house, victim was wearing a robe.
Right.
He's about to hook up with somebody. I'm thinking this dude hooks up with old boy Friday, but he still wants to hook up with somebody.
He picked up some dude, planned on going back,
and then he gets killed when he's trying to hook up and gets robbed.
You want to murder, but you stabbed this guy 12 times. Why not just shoot?
An hour later,
Margot!
crime analyst Margot Hain-Bell has a potential lead.
We looked into Cecil's financials because we knew his wallet had been stolen. We found that he had an EBT card, a food stamp card. We tracked spending on that. And we found that the day after Cecil's body was found, someone used that card at a convenience store near Cecil's house.
Well, hopefully it's on video.
Yeah.
Detectives head to the convenience store.
So they're going to go over there and pull video, see who used his EBT.
An hour and a half later.
So we got who we believe to be is going to be our suspect. He's entering the Quick Trip at 15:12 yesterday afternoon. So he goes back there, gets his Slurpee.
The man brings 2 drinks up to the cashier.
He's using.
And pays for them with Cecil's EBT card.
A pretty distinctive green jacket and an Oakland A's hat. Question is, who is he? We need to reach out to Quick Trip, see if they know who he is, and see where he's at.
As the first 48 slips away.
Nothing. The jacket stood out there, but it's really green.
Yeah.
They said, yeah.
I knew who he was, but didn't know his name. So Quick Trip has my name and number, and I said, yeah, we'll see him when you call.
Okay.
In the first 48, Tulsa Homicide responded to the brutal killing of 65-year-old Cecil Busby, found shot and stabbed in his home. Learned Cecil's car and wallet were missing. Discovered video of a man using Cecil's EBT card at a convenience store. But now need to find him and figure out if he's the killer.
Growing up, there was 6 of us, and he was second to the youngest.
We wasn't rich, but we had a lot of love. Yeah. That Cecil, when he was in 3rd grade, how young and innocent. But we grew up, so.
Cecil's just a normal kid like we was, but after he growed up, Cecil spent a lot of time in prison.
Cecil served 13 years for possession of stolen property and forgery.
After he got out of prison, he worked on an assembly line, and he had to give that up when he had his heart attack.
After that, he just try not to get in trouble, but that's, I said try. That's part of his makeup. Whatever he'd done, he still didn't deserve by no means.
4 days after Cecil was found shot and stabbed in his home.
We located the guy that's been using Cecil's EBT card. We went back this morning over at Quick Trip. The manager over there called in. Patrol ended up snatching him at an apartment. The EBT They looked through this guy's wallet and it's not in there. I'm Detective Farrell. This is Detective Warren. There's a couple of things I'd like to talk to you about. So you went to the Quick Trip yesterday, correct? Is that a picture of you there? Purchased? That is you.
Is that?
You're wearing the same green jacket and the same Ace hat.
Yeah, I remember now. Okay, I used somebody else's card. Here's a food stamp card.
Whose card was that? Whose card was that you used?
I didn't see it.
He says the EBT card was lent to him by an acquaintance and gives the man's nickname.
Do you know his real name?
No, I don't.
Okay. So when did he give you this card?
Yesterday. He said he has like $4 and something on his card, and he said, go get me an icy. I got him one, gave me. I go get the drinks, and then if I came back, gave him the drink, so I gave the card back to him.
Okay.
And he left.
Did he say anything to you about where he got the card?
Yeah, he didn't say.
This man right here, he's the one that owned that card.
Okay.
That man's dead.
Oh.
Okay? If you know his real name, I need to know it.
I don't know.
Okay. Describe him to me. Is he a white guy, black guy?
Black guy. Close to 50. He's about 5'8", 5'9". 150, 160.
Okay. Where would I find him?
I don't know anywhere specific.
Okay. Hang tight for 1 second.
Let's see if he give us a name.
Yeah.
Farrell sends the man's nickname and description out to the entire department.
There we go.
And gets a hit.
It's gonna be him.
What's his name?
The possible suspect is 52 years old. He served 23 years for manslaughter and has an outstanding warrant for trespassing.
Can you print his info?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Yes.
He confirms that's the man who gave him the card.
All right. Hang tight. So we know his name. We'll see if we can track him down.
Nine hours later,
They've been out there looking for him. They finally picked him up.
the Street Crimes and Fugitive Warrants units tracked the man to an apartment and arrested him on his outstanding warrant.
They took him into custody.
Inside the apartment where he was found,
They did recover Cecil's wallet and his EBT card. And then his ID.
Run around with a dead man's property. I'd have a good explanation.
So,
You know him?
Farrell shows him a photo of the man who used Cecil's EBT card.
yeah.
Okay. So when was the last time you were over at this house?
Probably yesterday.
Okay. At some point, he got you guys drinks.
Yeah. Let's listen.
How did he pay for that slushy?
People, let's listen.
Yeah. You gave him a food stamp card, correct?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this man before?
Hell no.
You don't know him?
No.
That's his food stamp card that you used. Explain how you have a dead man's food stamp card.
Gave me the card.
He says he got Cecil's EBT card from yet another man.
I swear to God. I got no reason to lie about nothing this man.
We do. It's a murder.
Well, it don't got nothing to do with me.
Okay, we need to find.
You damn right.
He tells detectives where they can find the man who gave him Cecil's EBT card.
Just stay right there.
I will.
So we're gonna probably end up seeing if we can find this guy.
And then when we exhaust all of that and everything starts pointing back towards him, then he's going to have some explaining to do.
One week later.
So we tracked this third guy down, and he claims that he found Cecil's wallet. It was on the ground. He picked it up after he's leaving Quick Trip. There's some surveillance cameras there at the Quick Trip that we can go back and verify this is what happened. But we're kind of at a dead end as far as how this wallet ended up out here in this area.
Then,
Miss Farrow.
the case takes an unexpected turn.
Guy was stabbed multiple times, shot in the head.
Yeah.
I know who did it.
All right. Appreciate you coming down here. Okay. You just tell me what you know.
Yesterday, just got a hold of me. I've known him previously for about 2 years.
He says yesterday he met up with a friend of his named Joseph Arndt near the homeless camp where they sometimes stay.
We were sitting at a bus stop, waiting for the bus. He showed me his hand. And his hand has stitches going across, like right here where his fingers are. They were deep. He said, no, that's from backlash. And then he spilled the beans. He told me that a dude had picked him up. The guy said something about getting high.
He says Joseph told him he was walking down the street when a man pulled up in his car and invited him back to his house to do drugs.
What type of drug?
Meth. He said something, he'd gone back to his house getting high. So the guy offered him a shower, and he took a shower, and he said the dude had tried to come into the shower with him. And he said that he had lost it on the dude. Just started wailing on him, you know, and dude had grabbed a knife. And then he had somehow got the knife from the dude, and then he stabbed him. And then he said that he had taken a gun and he had shot him in the head.
Okay. And did he mention where he got this gun?
I'm assuming it was dude's because he didn't carry a gun. And then he stole his car. He told me that he had blown the tire, that he had left it at his apartment complex.
So you had mentioned that this guy tried to get in the shower with Joseph, correct?
Yeah.
Is Joseph gay?
No.
He's not?
He's extremely homophobic.
So he would have been very upset if this guy tried to get in the shower with him.
But I don't know how he didn't know when the guy picked him up. You know what I mean? I don't know how he didn't know that the guy was, what the guy wanted.
Okay.
Just sit back, we'll be right back up.
Found him. I found his picture here.
38-year-old Joseph Arndt was born and raised in Pennsylvania, but has lived in Oklahoma for over 15 years. He has a sister and 2 daughters.
Robbery, assault.
He has prior convictions for robbery and domestic assault and battery by strangulation, and has outstanding warrants for assault and attempted robbery from a recent unrelated case.
Goes by the street name of Justice.
Okay. Who is that?
That's him.
That's Joseph?
Okay.
Where would I find him?
I believe
He gives detectives the name of a hotel where Joseph is staying.
You think your boy would do this to anybody else?
Oh, no, he would.
Man, I really appreciate you coming down.
No problem.
Sit tight, bro.
Over.
We're going to need to go out there and set up on that hotel, see if he comes walking out. Make sure that justice is served.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Detective Adam Duraiki and the Fugitive Warrants Unit head to the hotel.
Let's go over here. Let's see what we got. Are you inside?
Yeah. What were 214. He's due to check out today at 11.
All right, buddy. Bye. If he comes out, our goal is to basically just surround him. Hopefully he'll give up. But we do have an outstanding .22 revolver that he may be in possession of. Oh, the door's open. That's not our boy. Hey, who's the white boy in the black shirt and black backpack? Where'd he come from? It looks a lot like him. It's hard to tell. Drop that for a second, please. Stand by. Hey, Joseph! Get on the ground now, Joseph! Get on the ground, Joseph, right now! On the ground! Lay down! Hands behind your back! Hands behind your back! Stay right there, don't move! Got him? Joseph Arndt? What's your name?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I thought. He's in custody. Ready, we're gonna pick you up, right? 1, 2, 3. He's got a slice on his fingers. He does have a set of keys to a Nissan.
Whose car keys are those?
Some guys.
Say what?
Some guys. I don't know.
Where's this car
I
at?
honestly don't know. I just think it was keys, so.
We got some guys that want to talk to you. Can we put them in your vehicles?
Yeah.
Come on.
Before we get started, are you intoxicated in any way right now? Have you taken any prescription medications?
Just my antibiotics. I have sepsis in my hand.
Sepsis?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just got operated on last week.
Okay. Before we get started, I'm going to read you this form here. You have the right to remain silent. You do not have to answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I do. I just know that I need a lawyer to talk to, because
Okay. Just so you know, you're going to be arrested for first-degree murder, okay? You understand?
All right, buddy.
Lawyer it up.
Right here, sir. Right. Where they're at?
The witness stated that Cecil had picked Joseph up somewhere, brought him over to the house to smoke some dope, offered him a shower, and that's where things kind of went south.
Oh, sorry.
He may claim self-defense. You know, he's protecting himself because this guy took advances at him while he's in the shower. But all the injuries that he had, you know, he stabbed 12 plus times maybe, shot the head. So this guy definitely went overboard.
Hey, partner, stick your hands out for me. You extend your fingers.
Yes, I can.
He's definitely got a pretty good wound to his fingers on his right hand that are all stitched up. He had the car keys that belonged to the Juke on his person whenever he was taken into custody.
I gotta take a couple buckle swabs and I swab the inside of your mouth. All right.
And then we'll also compare the blood from the scene and see if that all matches up with Joseph. But we definitely have enough to arrest him, so we'll be booking him for first-degree murder.
All right, buddy. Let's go out this way. All right, go on in, Joe. Got it?
6 months after Cecil's death.
Family gatherings.
You know, he was funny. He's fun to be around. You know, he had a dry sense of humor.
If he felt like somebody was down and out, he would do his best to help.
He was a good guy. He had his faults like every other person in the world, but not as the fault of murdering. You know, Cecil wouldn't hurt nobody. He was too kind-hearted.
It still seems unreal. Me and Cecil was very close. He called me every other day. And sometimes it's like, if I could just have one more phone call. You know, it's hard. It's sad.
Yeah. Shot several times in the chest and back, suggesting he had attempted to run from the assailant. Crime. Scene investigators recovered 13 9mm shell casings clustered tightly around the table, pointing to a single shooter firing rapidly from A. Single magazine. Beneath the picnic table, investigators located 2 cell phones belonging to the victims. They were immediately placed into airplane mode to prevent any remote data deletion. Additionally, a search of John's clothing revealed a realistic-looking plastic replica handgun tucked into his waistband, a detail that suggested the meeting may have had a deeper, more dangerous purpose. Detectives began their interviews by speaking with John's girlfriend, Kayla, who had remained in the patrol vehicle. She explained that Aiden and John had traveled to the park that evening to conduct a transaction involving $400 worth of marijuana. The meeting had been arranged via Instagram. Though she claimed not to know the identity of the buyer, she recalled dozing off in the passenger seat of the car and waking up to the sound of gunshots. Peering out the window, she saw 2 figures dressed in black fleeing into the darkness. Kayla admitted that Aiden and John had frequented this park, but she found it strange that the buyer had suggested this specific, secluded location. Detectives suspected she might be withholding information and gently pressed her for more details. She eventually revealed that Aiden had been involved in a dispute a few months prior, where he had allegedly taken $90 from a local young woman without delivering the promised marijuana. She provided the name of the young woman, suggesting it could be a motive for retaliation. The following day, Detective Pearson visited the residence where the K-9 unit had lost the scent. The home was located roughly a quarter mile from the park. A young woman was sitting on the front porch, and Detective Pearson recognized her name as the individual Kayla had mentioned. When questioned, the young woman denied any involvement in the incident. She admitted knowing Aiden but denied that he had ever robbed her, stating that she had no reason to wish him harm. She expressed a desire to see the perpetrators caught, noting that the community of North Lake was typically a peaceful place. With this lead exhausted, the detectives focused on the victim's mobile devices. John's phone was successfully accessed, revealing a text message exchange from Aiden sent roughly an hour before the meeting. In the message, Aiden had casually asked John what would happen if they decided to rob the buyer instead of completing the sale. This message, combined with the replica handgun found on John's body, suggested that the victims may have intended to perpetrate a robbery, unaware of the danger that awaited them. Aiden's phone was severely damaged, preventing immediate data retrieval. The forensic laboratory worked diligently to repair the hardware, knowing that the direct messages on Aiden's Instagram account held the key to identifying the suspect. 4 days after the shooting, detectives received the restored data from Aiden's phone. The Instagram messages detailed a conversation with an account utilizing the username PopShopCJ. The user had agreed to purchase 56 grams of marijuana for $400. The suspect had instructed Aiden to meet him at Sunset, which was a local reference to the park area. The timeline of the messages perfectly mirrored the home surveillance footage retrieved from a nearby residence, which showed Aiden's car arriving at 12:04 in the morning, followed by the appearance of a figure waiting in the shadows at 12:25, the exact time the suspect messaged that he had arrived. Detectives now had a primary suspect profile, but they needed a real name. They showed the profile picture associated with the Instagram account to residents in the neighborhood. One youth recognized the individual as EJ, a teenager who frequented the area. She recalled meeting him at a local lake and provided the address of a house where she had recently styled his hair. The address she provided was the very house where the K-9 unit had tracked the scent on the night of the murders. This connection was a significant breakthrough. The homeowner's sister confirmed that EJ, whose real name was Laquan Dempsey, was a friend of her brother. She mentioned that Laquan was 16 years old and attended a local alternative high school. Detective Pearson contacted the school's resource officer, who confirmed Laquan's identity and provided his grandmother's contact information. He also learned that Laquan had recently been involved in a dispute where he claimed to have been robbed during a marijuana transaction, supporting the theory of a retaliatory motive. An attorney representing the resident of the tract home contacted Detective Pearson, expressing concern that his client might be implicated in the homicides. Pearson assured him that they simply wanted to speak with anyone who had information regarding Laquan's whereabouts. A few days later, Laquan's grandmother agreed to bring him to the police headquarters for an interview. Laquan arrived accompanied by his family. Detective Pearson began the interview by presenting the Instagram messages between the Pop Shop's EJ account and Aiden. Laquan initially denied using the account to arrange the meeting. He claimed that he shared the account with a friend from the neighborhood. He asserted that on the night of the shooting, this friend had borrowed his phone and used it to coordinate the transaction. Laquan claimed he was asleep at home when the incident occurred. He described a complex dynamic where his older friend had been trying to pressure him into joining a local gang. He claimed the friend had taken his phone as an act of intimidation and later admitted to shooting the two victims. After a disagreement during the transaction, Detective Pearson, experienced in identifying deceptive narratives, listened patiently but noted several inconsistencies. He explained to Laquan that they had requested cellular tower records for his phone number, which would pinpoint the exact location of the device during the homicides. When the cellular records arrived, they painted a different picture. The data showed that Laquan's phone had connected to a cellular tower covering the North Lake Park area at the exact time of the shooting. Furthermore, the phone had been used to place a call to Laquan's grandmother from that location shortly after the incident. The narrative of the phone being borrowed by a friend who was calling Laquan's grandmother was highly implausible. Faced with this objective evidence, Detective Pearson contacted Laquan's grandmother to inform her that they would be securing arrest warrants for her grandson. Laquan was taken into custody at her residence without incident. The investigation revealed a tragic cycle of youth violence where a dispute over a minor transaction escalated into a double homicide. For the families of Aiden Reynolds and John Pendrick, the arrest brought a measure of justice, but it could not fill the void left by the loss of two young lives. Years later, their mothers remained close, bound by a shared grief and the enduring memory of their sons. In the western hills of Tulsa, Oklahoma, another mystery lay buried beneath the ashes of a forgotten fire. On a warm afternoon, a resident was searching for her lost cat in a vacant lot on South 54th West Avenue. The lot contained the charred remains of a detached garage that had burned to the ground 5 months prior. As she walked through the overgrown weeds and debris, she made a horrifying discovery. Rested among the ashes were what appeared to be human skeletal remains. Terrified, she immediately contacted 911 to report the find. Patrol officers arrived and secured the scene, confirming that a human jawbone and other skeletal elements were visible beneath a collapsed wooden structure. They contacted the homicide unit and a forensic anthropologist, Dr. Angela Berg, to assist with the recovery. Dr. Berg examined the remains as they lay in the dirt. She noted significant thermal damage from the intense heat of the fire, but she also observed clear signs of trauma to the skull. There appeared to be blunt force fractures and a potential gunshot wound, indicating that the individual had died violently before the garage was consumed by flames. The fire department records indicated that the garage had burned on September 14th, approximately 5 months earlier. The structure had been heavily cluttered, which explained why the fire crews had not noticed the body beneath the debris during the initial extinguishing efforts. Detectives identified the owner of the property and contacted him by phone. He claimed to be out of state and expressed reluctance to meet in person. When the detective informed him that a body had been discovered in his backyard, the homeowner asked if it could be Steve Wilkins. He explained that Steve had been living in the garage apartment for about 3 years after experiencing financial difficulties. The homeowner claimed he had not seen Steve since the night of the fire and assumed he had fled the area. He mentioned that a couple of unhappy individuals had visited Steve a few hours before the fire, but he did not know their identities. The homeowner's evasive behavior and failure to report his tenant missing for 5 months raised significant suspicions. Detectives requested that he come to the station for a formal interview. During the interview, the homeowner described Steve as a quiet, well-spoken man who enjoyed reading and writing poetry. He reiterated that he had seen 2 white males visiting Steve on the afternoon of the fire and assumed they had frightened Steve away. He denied any involvement in the incident, and with no evidence to hold him, he was allowed to leave while the recovery effort continued. At the scene, Dr. Berg's team carefully sifted through the debris. They recovered a 9mm shell casing that was heavily corroded, consistent with having been exposed to extreme heat. An examination of the skull at the medical examiner's office confirmed a gunshot entry wound at the base of the skull, officially ruling the death a homicide. Forensic comparison of medical records positively identified the remains as those of 55-year-old Steve Wilkins. A break in the case came when a patrol officer brought in a cooperative witness from the neighborhood. She revealed that a rumor had been circulating on the west side regarding Steve. According to the rumor, an individual named Tad Kleiner, known on the streets as Taboo, believed that Steve had drugged his ex-girlfriend. The witness stated that Tad, along with his associate Mikey Brummett and a third individual, had gone to the garage to confront Steve. She claimed that Tad had later bragged about severely beating Steve and that Mikey had returned to the scene to clean up the evidence and set the fire to conceal the crime. Furthermore, she revealed that Mikey Brummett was currently serving a 5-year prison sentence on an unrelated firearm charge, having been arrested with both a .38 caliber revolver and a 9mm handgun. Detectives interviewed the witness's boyfriend, who was currently held in the county jail. He confirmed the story, stating that he had seen Tad and Mikey. After the incident, he noted that a young man named Devin Scribner had also been present and had suffered a deep cut to his hand during the encounter. With this information, detectives focused their efforts on locating Devin Scribner, believing him to be the most vulnerable link in the group. After a brief search of the west side, they located Devin at his girlfriend's residence and brought him in for questioning. In the interview room, Devin appeared nervous. The detective informed him that they had recovered Steve's remains and knew that he had been present during the murder. Devin broke down and agreed to cooperate. He explained that Tad had recruited him and Mikey to go to Steve's garage to address allegations that Steve had been drugging local women. Devin claimed he believed they were only going to have a conversation. However, upon arrival, Tad became aggressive, shouting at Steve before striking him. Tad and Mikey then began a prolonged assault, beating Steve until he collapsed. Devin claimed he became terrified and attempted to leave. As Steve struggled to defend himself, Devin intervened, utilizing a knife to stab Steve twice. During the struggle, the knife slipped, causing the severe cut to his own hand. Shortly thereafter, Mikey produced a handgun and shot Steve in the head. Devin fled the scene as Mikey prepared to set the structure on fire to destroy the evidence. Devin was formally arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Armed with his confession, detectives secured arrest warrants for Tad Kleiner and Mikey Brummett. Tad was located and brought to the department. During his interview, he denied any involvement in the murder or the fire. He admitted knowing Steve and acknowledged that he had threatened him in the past regarding his behavior toward local women, but he maintained that he had not been present on the night of the fire. Despite his denials, the consistent statements from multiple witnesses and Devin's detailed confession provided sufficient probable cause. Tad was booked into the county jail on charges of first-degree murder. Mikey Brummett, already in state custody, was also formally charged. To determine the validity of the motive, detectives located Tad's ex-girlfriend. When questioned, she expressed complete confusion. She stated she had never met Steve Wilkins, had never been drugged or assaulted by anyone, and had no idea why such a rumor would have started. The investigation revealed a devastating truth. Steve Wilkins, a gentle man who wrote poetry and volunteered in his community, had been brutally murdered based on entirely false neighborhood gossip. His killers had acted as vigilantes, executing a sentence for a crime that had never occurred. The resolution of these three cases highlights the meticulous, often exhausting, work of homicide detectives. From the humid streets of North Charleston to the parks of Georgia and the west side of Tulsa, justice was pursued through science, patience, and a commitment to finding the truth. While the arrests brought closure to the legal process, they stood as somber reminders of the fragile nature of human life and the devastating consequences of choices made in the dark. Chapter 1: The Shattered Mirage. The quiet stillness of the early morning hours on Rolling Fork Road in North Charleston, South Carolina, was shattered not by the loud report of gunfire, but by a frantic, desperate banging against glass and wood. It was an unsettling sound that roused residents from their deepest slumber, a rhythmic, frantic pounding accompanied by muted cries for assistance. When the emergency call center dispatch line chimed at the municipal headquarters, the operator received a caller whose voice was trembling with confusion and fear. The caller reported that an unknown individual was outside their door, wildly pounding on the windows and doors, screaming for help. Dispatch logged the emergency at 6 Rolling Fork Road and immediately routed patrol units to the vicinity. Shortly thereafter, an officer broadcasted over the radio frequency that he was arriving on scene, encountering a chaotic scene, with substantial blood trails marking the breezeway under a stairwell on the ground level. A young man lay prone beneath the stairs, his breath shallow, his pulse fading rapidly from a severe gunshot wound to his inner upper thigh. Medical personnel arrived moments later, but the catastrophic hemorrhage from what appeared to be an arterial strike proved fatal. The young man ceased breathing before he could be transported to a regional trauma center. 4 homicide investigators. The operational clock begins ticking the moment a life is extinguished. Experience dictates that if solid investigative leads are not developed within the initial 48 hours, the statistical probability of solving the crime drops by half. Led Detective Sanders, newly elevated to lead status on homicide cases, stepped onto the crime scene alongside experienced colleagues Detective Reams and Detective Hawley. The morning light revealed a stark and somber setting. The deceased victim lay beneath the metal stairwell, lacking any wallet or direct identification on his person. His body bore distinct tattoos, some of which suggested potential local gang affiliations, indicating that fingerprints would be necessary to establish a formal identity through state databases. A meticulous sweep of the immediate surroundings revealed a clear biological trail. The thick crimson droplets led from the stairwell back behind a row of commercial trash dumpsters, continuing along a metal guardrail near the apartment complex parking lot. Nestled in the damp grass near the guardrail, forensic technicians discovered a 9mm firearm magazine loaded with ammunition, yet no firearm was present anywhere in the vicinity. A thorough search of the fallen leaves and brush produced no discarded weapon. Nearby, resting in the pool of blood along the trail, lay a locked smartphone. The absence of frantic calls reporting gunshots puzzled the detectives. In a densely populated residential complex, a gunshot usually produced multiple emergency reports. Detective Reams observed that if the shot had been fired inside an enclosed motor vehicle, the sound might have been muffled entirely to outside observers. A scenario emerged. The victim might have been seated inside a vehicle parked near the lot, engaged in a conversation or a transaction, suffered a gunshot wound, exited the vehicle while the driver sped off, and then stumbled frantically toward the nearest apartment doors, seeking help before collapsing. To gain access to the locked smartphone, the detectives initiated a formal search warrant request, summoning technical experts to extract digital data. A cell phone in a modern homicide investigation serves as a digital witness, preserving time-stamped text messages, incoming calls, and location coordinates that can reconstruct a victim's final hours. While technicians worked on the device, detectives conducted door-to-door canvassing. They spoke with the couple residing at the apartment where the victim had frantically knocked. The husband explained that he worked early shifts at a local grocery store and had been asleep when his wife noticed a shadow and heard the violent banging at their front door. They shared closed-circuit doorbell camera footage recorded on the wife's mobile application. The video confirmed the tragic timeline at 1 hour and 16 minutes past midnight. The young victim appeared on the porch alone, clutching his leg, clutching for survival. No pursuer was visible behind him. Detectives noted security cameras mounted on nearby buildings and utility poles. The property utilized a centralized, city-linked digital surveillance system, managed through Verkada security platforms. Because the apartment complex featured only a single vehicular entrance and exit, any automobile entering or departing around the time of the incident would inevitably pass directly through the camera frame. By mid-afternoon, fingerprint comparisons conducted by the county coroner yielded a positive identification. The deceased was 21-year-old Aurelius Cyron Nelson Jr., affectionately known to family and friends as C. A native of James Island, South Carolina, Aurelius was a father to a young son. His sudden death left a profound void in the lives of those who loved him. At police headquarters, detectives reviewed video from the perimeter security cameras at approximately 1 hour and 11 minutes past midnight, roughly 5 minutes prior to Aurelius appearing on the doorbell camera. A light-colored four-door sedan was captured rolling swiftly out of the single complex exit, turning eastbound onto Rivers Avenue before disappearing toward the interstate highway. Though the vehicle's license plate was unreadable due to night glare, detectives identified the distinct body lines and tail lamps of a white or silver Infiniti G37 sedan. As investigators departed the apartment complex later that day, a young woman approached their unmarked vehicle, introducing herself as Aurelius's girlfriend. She explained that she had learned of his death through family phone calls. She revealed that she and Aurelius had been staying at a Stay Express hotel located approximately 1 mile away. According to her narrative, Aurelius had been sleeping earlier that evening, but around 1 o'clock in the morning, he quietly got dressed, walked downstairs without saying a word, and departed the hotel on foot. Just as the preliminary leads seemed to settle into a waiting game for digital data, patrol units alerted homicide detectives to an unusual secondary incident. Nearby, patrol officers had attempted a routine traffic stop on a Toyota RAV. For after observing a passenger with a jacket draped entirely over his head. When the patrol vehicle activated its emergency lights, the SUV pulled over and 2 male passengers immediately leaped out and fled into the surrounding neighborhood on foot. Upon inspecting the interior of the abandoned vehicle, officers found blood smeared across the seating surfaces. The passenger, who had been covered by the jacket, claimed to responding officers that he had just been beaten and kidnapped by the 2 fleeing men. He stated that his captors accused him of setting up Aurelius Nelson to be killed earlier that morning. Detectives interviewed this individual to untangle the convoluted story. The man explained that on the night of the shooting, Aurelius had visited his home, located near the Rolling Fork complex. Aurelius allegedly mentioned that he intended to conduct a robbery, referred to in local slang as hitting a play or setting up a lick, targeting a local individual. Aurelius had then departed on foot. The following morning, two close friends of Aurelius arrived at his residence, physically assaulted him, forced him into the vehicle, and demanded that he call the man Aurelius had intended to rob. When the call was placed, the individual on the line abruptly hung up. The terrified witness supplied detectives with the street moniker and name of a local drug dealer who drove a white Infiniti G37 sedan. Database searches confirmed that this individual possessed a registered white 2010 Infiniti sedan and maintained a criminal record involving drug charges. Detective Holly compiled a list of past residential addresses linked to the suspect and dispatched teams to locate the white vehicle. For 3 hours, detectives scoured various apartment complexes and neighborhoods, searching for the white Infiniti. While several potential locations proved empty, the investigation shifted back toward technical analysis. When digital extraction of Aurelius's phone was completed, the phone records provided a clear timeline. In the minutes leading up to the shooting, Aurelius had been actively exchanging text messages with the suspect for nearly 30 minutes, coordinating a specific meeting location near the rear parking lot of the complex. The final outgoing text message from the suspect's phone was time-stamped shortly after 1 o'clock in the morning. A cross-reference of law enforcement databases revealed that the suspect had recently been released on a $40,000 bond through a local bail bonds agency. Detective Reams contacted the bail bonds company, obtaining the current address of the suspect's girlfriend. Detective Sanders and his team proceeded to the girlfriend's residence. Sanders engaged her in a calm, professional conversation, explaining that investigators needed to speak with her child's father regarding an ongoing inquiry. She agreed to assist and called the suspect on speakerphone in the presence of detectives. Detective Sanders spoke directly with the man, requesting that he come to North Charleston City Hall to clarify some details. The suspect agreed to meet within an hour. However, 20 minutes later, an automated license plate recognition camera alerted nearby patrol units to the white Infiniti traveling along a regional thoroughfare, unaware that the suspect had agreed to voluntarily report to City Hall. Patrol officers executed a high-risk traffic stop, detaining the driver in handcuffs and preparing the vehicle for impoundment. The suspect was brought to the interrogation room at City Hall. Visibly frustrated by the dramatic stop, he initially resisted answering questions, expressing his desire to speak with legal counsel. Detective Sanders maintained an empathetic, transparent posture. He removed the suspect's handcuffs, sat down across from him, and explained the administrative mechanics of the investigation. Sanders acknowledged the miscommunication regarding the traffic stop and clarified that investigators were seeking the truth regarding what transpired inside the vehicle. Simultaneously, crime scene technicians executed a search warrant on the impounded Infiniti inside a secure warehouse facility, utilizing specialized chemical reagents, including Blue Star forensic lighting. Technicians inspected the interior. The chemical illuminated extensive biological traces that had been wiped down from the leather passenger seat. Technicians carefully cut into the foam padding beneath the seat cover, uncovering significant blood saturation that had seeped deep into the cushion structure, blood that match testing would subsequently attribute to Aurelius Nelson. Furthermore, technicians discovered a single bullet hole penetrating the interior framework of the driver's side door panel. Back in the interrogation room, Detective Sanders re-entered with the updated forensic findings. Seeing the weight of the physical evidence, the suspect chose to waive his right to silence and re-engaged in conversation, eager to provide his account of the encounter. He recounted that Aurelius had contacted him requesting to buy marijuana and asked to be picked up near a local establishment. After getting into the front passenger seat, Aurelius directed him to drive into the Rolling Fork apartment complex. As the vehicle coasted slowly through the dimly lit parking lot, Aurelius suddenly drew a handgun, declaring a robbery. Panic ensued within the confined space of the front seat. The driver described reaching over with one arm to grab Aurelius's wrists, wrestling for control of the weapon while trying to maintain control of the moving automobile. During the violent physical struggle over the firearm, 2 shots were fired in rapid succession. One bullet pierced the driver's door framework, while the second struck Aurelius directly in the upper inner thigh. According to the driver, Aurelius immediately cried out, stating that he had accidentally shot himself. As the weapon fell loose during the struggle, Aurelius managed to open the passenger door and stumble out into the darkness, fleeing toward the apartment buildings, terrified and bleeding from minor abrasions. The driver sped out of the complex, retrieved the discarded handgun, threw it away in an undisclosed area, and spent the following hours frantically cleaning the blood from his car's leather seats out of sheer panic. Detectives carefully evaluated the statement against the physical evidence. The trajectory of the bullet hole in the driver's door, the location of the 9mm magazine dropped near the guardrail, the lack of pursuer footage on the doorbell camera, and the specific nature of the inner thigh entry wound all corroborated the driver's account. Aurelius Nelson Jr. had drawn a firearm to commit a robbery, but during the physical struggle over the gun inside the vehicle, he inadvertently discharged the weapon into his own femoral artery. Although the shooting constituted an act of self-defense during an armed robbery, the driver's subsequent actions, cleaning the crime scene, destroying biological evidence, and discarding the firearm, constituted serious legal violations. Rather than charging the driver with murder, Detective Sanders filed formal charges for misprision of a felony, a charge reflecting the active concealment of a violent crime and destruction of evidence. Detective Sanders sat with the young man, delivering a stern yet compassionate Lesson on the absolute necessity of contacting law enforcement immediately when violent incidents occur, rather than attempting to cover them up out of fear. Within the 48-hour window, the truth behind Aurelius Nelson's tragic death was fully unraveled, bringing a sobering, definitive conclusion to a chaotic night. Chapter 2: Shadows Beneath the Pines. In the quiet suburban township of Northlake, situated within Gwinnett County, Georgia, the midnight peace of a forested park off Norris Lane was broken by a sudden volley of gunfire. The echoes bounced off the tall pine trees surrounding a solitary wooden picnic table. At the local emergency dispatch center, a young woman named Kayla placed an urgent 911 call from inside a parked vehicle. Her voice trembled violently as she informed the dispatcher that she had been sleeping in the car while her boyfriend and his close friend were outside. She had been abruptly awakened by the loud crack of multiple gunshots. Looking out into the dark park, she saw two figures dressed entirely in dark clothing running away through the thick tree line toward an adjacent residential neighborhood. Patrol officers and emergency medical technicians rushed to the scene. Near the wooden picnic bench, officers discovered two young men lying unresponsive on the ground. Paramedics examined both individuals, but the extent of their injuries was fatal. Neither exhibited signs of life. A canine handler deployed a tracking dog from the immediate crime scene. The dog acquired a scent trail leading away from the picnic table, following a narrow dirt footpath through the woods toward a nearby residential street. The track culminated at the back fence of a single-family home on Norris Lane. As officers approached the house to investigate, an interior light was abruptly switched off, and repeated knocks at the door yielded no response from any occupant. Homicide detectives Pearson and Orina, alongside investigator Stevens, arrived to assume control of the investigation. The crime scene was stark. The two victims were identified as 19-year-old Aiden Reynolds and 17-year-old John Pendrick. Aiden, a resident of Cartersville, Georgia, worked as a commercial delivery driver and was a passionate, aspiring musician who shared a deep bond with his parents and younger sister. His best friend, John, born 260 miles away in Philadelphia, Georgia, had recently taken a job as an oil technician. John was an avid skateboarder, motorcyclist, and outdoorsman who was devoted to his family. The two young men were virtually inseparable. Forensic examination of the scene revealed that John had suffered multiple gunshot wounds to his arm, chest, back, and torso. When he was struck, he had collapsed against the picnic table. Aiden had sustained 5 gunshot wounds, 1 to the chest, 1 under his arm, and 3 to his back, indicating he had attempted to flee when the firing began. Scene investigators recovered 13 spent 9mm shell casings scattered in a tight cluster near the picnic table, suggesting a single shooter utilizing a high-capacity magazine. Beside John's body lay his damaged mobile phone, and tucked securely into his waistband, technicians located a realistic plastic imitation firearm, a BB gun. A backpack that John had reportedly been carrying was missing from the scene. Detective Pearson interviewed Kayla, John's girlfriend, inside the rear of a patrol vehicle. She explained that Aiden and John had traveled to the park that evening to conduct a sale of $400 worth of marijuana to an individual Aiden had been communicating with on Instagram. She claimed she did not know the buyer's real name or identity, stating that as soon as they arrived at the park, she fell asleep in the vehicle and was only awakened by the sound of gunfire. She recalled seeing two figures in black clothing fleeing into the woods. Detectives noted the suspicious nature of the meeting site. The secluded park was not a location an outsider would easily locate, suggesting that either the buyers were local residents or that someone familiar with the area had selected the spot. Forensic technicians successfully bypassed the security lock on John's phone, revealing a critical text message sent by Aiden to John approximately 1 hour prior to the shooting. In the message, Aiden had written, "What if I was thinking about robbing him?" This revelation shifted the investigative perspective. What had initially been reported as a straightforward drug sale appeared to have involved a potential robbery plot contemplated by the victims themselves. Upon further questioning, Kayla admitted that a couple of months prior, Aiden had allegedly taken $90 from a local young woman without delivering the promised marijuana. Detectives tracked down the young woman at her home near Norris Lane, coincidentally located near the path where the police canine had lost the scent track. The young woman firmly denied any involvement or grudge, asserting that while she was aware of Aiden's reputation for taking money from people, she had never been personally robbed by him and harbored no ill will. 4 days into the investigation, detectives obtained high-definition security camera footage from a private residence situated on the opposite side of the park. Though the system recorded based on motion detection, the time-stamped clips provided an invaluable visual chronicle of the night. At 12 hours and 4 minutes past midnight, Aiden's automobile pulled into the park lot. The occupants remained inside, their phone screens illuminating their faces in the dark. At 12 hours and 13 minutes past midnight, the car's headlights flashed repeatedly, signaling to someone in the shadows. At 12 hours and 25 minutes past midnight, Aiden and John exited the vehicle and walked toward the picnic table, John wearing the dark backpack. Moments later, a solitary shadow emerged from the perimeter of the woods, walking directly toward them. Simultaneously, state forensic experts managed to extract full data from Aiden's damaged smartphone. The digital records highlighted an extensive Instagram direct message conversation between Aiden's account and a user operating under the profile handle popshots_EJ. The messages detailed the negotiation for 56 grams of marijuana valued at $400, culminating in popshots_EJ, instructing Aiden to meet at the park at sunset. The precise timestamp of the suspect's message stating here matched the exact minute the shadow appeared on the residential security footage. Detectives possessed a visual image of the profile picture associated with PopShots_EJ, but the profile itself had been abruptly deactivated. Following the homicides, Pearson returned to the local neighborhood, showing the profile picture to local youths. A teenager recognized the individual, identifying him by the street moniker, EJ, and stating that he attended a local, specialized alternative educational facility known as the Give School. Detective Pearson contacted the school resource officer assigned to the Give School. Within hours, the officer identified the student behind the moniker, 16-year-old Laquan Leroy Dempsey. Armed with this identification, detectives visited the residence on Norris Lane, where the canine track had ended days earlier. A resident at the home confirmed that Laquan was a frequent visitor and a close friend of her brother. Furthermore, she disclosed a critical piece of context. Back in late June, Laquan had reportedly been robbed of money during an attempted drug transaction with a young white male, a detail that strongly suggested a revenge motive targeting Aiden. Detective Pearson contacted Laquan's grandmother, who agreed to bring the 16-year-old to police headquarters for a formal interview alongside her. During the interview, Detective Pearson presented the Instagram message logs, connecting Laquan's profile to Aiden on the night of the murders. Visibly anxious, Laquan attempted to distance himself from the crime by offering a complex explanation. He claimed that 2 days prior to the shooting, an older, gang-affiliated acquaintance had forcibly taken his smartphone and Instagram account, handing him a cheap replacement device instead. Laquan asserted that this acquaintance had utilized his account to arrange the meeting at the park, executed the shooting alongside another associate, stole the backpack, and later boasted about the double homicide. Detective Pearson evaluated the narrative against technical data. Investigators subpoenaed Laquan's detailed cellular tower records from his service provider. The tower connection logs completely dismantled Laquan's defense during the exact days and hours he claimed his phone had been stolen and operated by someone else in a different area. The device was making direct, personal phone calls to his grandmother, connecting through the specific cellular tower, covering the Norris Lane neighborhood in Northlake. The digital evidence indisputably placed Laquan Dempsey at the crime scene, using his personal phone to lure Aiden Reynolds and John Pendrick into the park, under the guise of a drug transaction, resulting in the tragic deaths of both young men. Detectives secured formal arrest warrants charging Laquan Dempsey with felony murder and aggravated assault. Patrol officers executed the warrant at his grandmother's residence, taking the teenager into custody without incident. 3 years after the tragic event, the mothers of Aiden Reynolds and John Pendrick gathered together to honor the memory of their sons, wearing customized memorial shirts bearing images of the two boys. They shared tears, warm recollections, and mutual support, though the loss remained a permanent ache in their daily lives. Their enduring bond served as a testament to the lasting love of mothers united in remembrance, finding strength in the justice delivered for Aiden and John. Chapter 3: Whispers Among the Ashes. on the west side of Tulsa, Oklahoma, as the afternoon sun cast long shadows. Across South 54th West Goldman Avenue, a resident was searching through the overgrown brush of an adjoining backyard for a lost pet collar. Her path led her to the charred wooden skeletal frame of a detached garage structure that had burned down 5 months earlier in mid-September. As she peered into the damp, ash-covered debris accumulated within the collapsed structure, she made a horrifying discovery. Human skeletal remains partially wedged beneath fallen roof beams. Terrified, she immediately dialed 911. Patrol officers arrived on scene, secured the property with perimeter tape, and confirmed the presence of human bones, including a visible lower jawbone resting amidst burnt timber. Recognizing the complex nature of the scene, patrol alerted the Tulsa Police Department Homicide Unit. Detectives Mark Kennedy, Ward, and Watkins, accompanied by crime scene detective Ross Hall, arrived to manage the recovery operation. Given the advanced state of decomposition and thermal damage, forensic anthropologist Dr. Angela Berg was summoned to the scene to oversee the delicate excavation process. Preliminary examination revealed that the body was positioning deep beneath structural debris, suggesting that the individual was inside the garage when the structure was consumed by flames 5 months prior. Fire suppression crews who had extinguished the blaze in September had been unaware of the body due to the massive volume of discarded clutter packed inside the building. Dr. Berg's initial assessment of the cranium revealed distinct skeletal trauma, including linear fractures indicative of severe blunt force or projectile impact prior to the thermal exposure. Detectives searched property records, identifying the owner of the main residence. Patrol officers contacted the homeowner by phone. When asked if he could return to the scene to assist investigators, the homeowner exhibited evasive behavior, claiming he was currently out of state and uncomfortable meeting officers without additional information. However, neighbors informed detectives that they had seen the homeowner driving away from the house just minutes after giving the neighbor permission to search for the cat collar. Detectives contacted the homeowner a second time, urging him to come to headquarters. Upon his arrival at the detective division, he offered a calm, detached explanation. When asked who might have been inside the garage during the September fire, he provided the name of 55-year-old Steve Wilkins. The homeowner explained that Steve, a longtime neighborhood resident who had fallen on hard economic times after his family moved away 3 years prior, had been living inside the detached garage with his permission. The homeowner characterized Steve as an articulate, gentle man who read extensively and wrote poetry. According to the homeowner, on the afternoon preceding the fire, 2 unidentified men had visited Steve in the garage, leaving Steve visibly shaken. The homeowner claimed he assumed that whoever started the fire had frightened Steve into fleeing the area, which was why he had never reported Steve missing to law enforcement. Detectives viewed the homeowner's lack of action with deep skepticism, but without definitive scientific identification of the remains, formal legal proceedings could not commence. 55-year-old Steve Wilkins was a native of California who had traveled extensively during his youth while his father served in the military. After settling in Tulsa over 2 decades earlier, Steve worked as a commercial baker and dedicated significant personal time to volunteering with neighbors along the line, a local community support service providing assistance to impoverished families. He was a father of 4 children and a brother to 3 siblings. The following morning, Dr. Berg and forensic technicians carefully sifted through the ash layer beneath the recovery site. Their efforts produced a corroded 9mm shell casing embedded in the dirt directly underneath the cranial remains. Further anatomical examination revealed a clear, circular gunshot entry defect at the base of the victim's skull. Shortly thereafter, Dr. Berg successfully established a definitive identification of the remains as Steve Wilkins by comparing ante-mortem radiological records obtained from a local medical facility with the recovered skeletal structures. With homicide formally established, an unexpected breakthrough occurred when Patrol Officer Darren Shipley brought a local woman to the homicide division. Though battling an illness, she insisted on providing information regarding the crime. She stated that days prior to the fire, an unfounded rumor had swept through the neighborhood alleging that Steve Wilkins had drugged an ex-girlfriend of 36-year-old local criminal Tad Taboo Kleiner. Driven by rage over the rumor, Tad Kleiner had assembled a group of associates, including 39-year-old Mikey Brummett Jr. and 26-year-old Devin Scrivener, to confront Steve at his garage dwelling. The witness reported that Tad Kleiner had personally boasted to her that he and his associates had severely beaten Steve, stomping on him violently. Following the assault, Michael Brummett had allegedly utilized bleach to clean blood evidence from the scene before intentionally setting the garage on fire to destroy all physical traces. Detectives cross-referenced law enforcement databases for the named individuals. Tad Kleiner possessed a lengthy record involving drug offenses and firearm violations. Michael Brummett was currently serving a 5-year sentence in a state correctional facility on an unrelated conviction for illegal possession of a 9mm handgun and a .38 caliber revolver, an arrest that had occurred 4 months after the fire. Devin Scrivener, 26, maintained no major prior felony convictions. Detectives located the female witness's boyfriend, who is currently incarcerated in the county jail on unrelated charges. When interviewed by Detective Watkins, the boyfriend corroborated the entire narrative, adding a crucial detail. During the violent assault inside the garage, Devin Scrivener had sustained a severe laceration to his own hand while actively participating in the attack. Detectives initiated a targeted search for Devin Scrivener across the west side of Tulsa. After 2 days of surveillance, detectives located Devin inside a vehicle parked outside his girlfriend's residence and brought him to headquarters for questioning. In the interrogation room, Detective Kennedy confronted Devin with the detailed statements gathered from witnesses. recognizing that investigators possessed accurate details regarding his hand injury. Devin broke down and disclosed the full sequence of events. Devin explained that on the night of the incident, Tad Kleiner had recruited him and Michael Brummett, stating they were going to talk to an old guy who was rumored to have acted inappropriately toward local women. They entered the garage apartment where Steve Wilkins was resting. Tad immediately initiated a aggressive confrontation, screaming at Steve and refusing to allow him to speak, before striking him forcefully in the face. As Steve collapsed, both Tad and Michael Brummett joined in the physical assault, beating Steve relentlessly. Devin admitted that during the chaos, when Steve attempted to lung upward from a chair to defend himself or escape, Devin drew a knife and stabbed Steve twice, accidentally slicing his own hand deeply. In the process, as Steve lay bleeding and incapacitated on the floor, Devin turned toward the door to leave. At that moment, Michael Brummett drew a handgun and fired a single shot directly into the base of Steve's skull, killing him instantly. The group then doused the interior with accelerants, ignited the blaze, and fled into the night. Devin Scrivener was formally placed under arrest and booked into the county jail on charges of first-degree murder. Armed with Devin's confession, detectives obtained formal arrest warrants for Tad Kleiner. The department's warrant service team located Kleiner at an apartment on 8th Street and taken into custody. In the interrogation room, Tad Kleiner initially denied all involvement, claiming he was nowhere near the garage on the night of the fire. However, under persistent questioning by Detective Kennedy, Kleiner began making subtle admissions. He conceded that he had previously visited Steve's garage to confront him, threatening to beat him and drive him out of town over neighborhood rumors and unsolicited poetry Steve had written, while Kleiner adamantly denied pulling the trigger or setting the fire. His admitted presence, recorded threats, and leadership role during the fatal vigilante assault provided complete probable cause. Detectives booked Tad Kleiner into the Tulsa County Jail on first-degree murder charges. Concurrently, Detective Kennedy submitted a formal arrest affidavit charging Michael Brummett Jr. with first-degree murder. Forensic ballistics technicians initiated comparative analysis between the 9mm casing recovered from the garage ash and the 9mm handgun seized from Brummett during his subsequent arrest. To resolve the core motive behind the brutal crime, Detective Kennedy tracked down and interviewed Tad Kleiner's ex-girlfriend, the woman whose supposed victimhood had ignited the fatal encounter. When shown a photograph of Steve Wilkins, she looked at the image with complete unfamiliarity. She stated unequivocally that she had never met Steve Wilkins, had never been inside his garage, had never been drugged or assaulted by him, and that the entire narrative circulating around the West Side was a completely baseless, fabricated street rumor. The realization sat heavily upon the investigative team. A gentle, 55-year-old community volunteer who spent his quiet hours writing poetry and helping the poor had been brutally beaten, shot, and burned based entirely on an unfounded, malicious rumors spread through neighborhood gossip. The lawless, impulsive attempt at street justice by Kleiner, Brummett, and Scrivener had stolen an innocent life and ruined their own. Through meticulous forensic science, patient witness outreach, and unwavering investigative determination, the Tulsa Police Department Homicide Unit uncovered the truth buried beneath 5 months of ash, restoring dignity to the memory of Steve Wilkins and ensuring that those responsible faced full accountability. Under the law, this program documents actual homicide investigations. Criminal charges are often dropped or reduced, and all suspects shown are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. Part 1. The Tragedy at the Park Picnic Table. The quiet atmosphere of a suburban neighborhood park was shattered late one night by the echoing report of gunfire. Inside a parked vehicle nearby, a young woman named Kayla woke up with a start. Moments earlier, she had been sleeping soundly while her boyfriend and his best friend stepped out to conduct a quick errand. The sharp, rhythmic cracks of a gun discharging ended the calm of the Georgia evening. Panicked and disoriented, she looked around, her eyes straining against the darkness. Outside, the night air was heavy with smoke and silence. Fearing the worst, she reached for her telephone and dialed 911. The emergency dispatcher answered the call, asking what was occurring. Kayla, her voice trembling with emotion, explained that she had been sleeping in the car when she heard gunshots nearby. The dispatcher pressed for immediate details, asking who had been shot and whether anyone was breathing. Kayla, struggling to process the terror unfolding around her, replied that her boyfriend and his friend had been outside and that she did not believe they were breathing. The operator assured her that emergency assistance was already en route to her location. Across the police radio network, units began coordinating their response. Radio chatter reported officers clearing calls and responding to the scene. Dispatchers transmitted signals confirming that emergency medical services and patrol units were descending upon the park. The first officers on scene rushed toward the park picnic area, flashlight beams cutting through the gloom. They found 2 young men lying motionless on and around a wooden picnic table. One officer knelt beside them, calling out to see if either victim was responsive, while another officer confirmed that the fire department was arriving shortly. The initial responders scanned the tree line, noting that 2 individuals in dark clothing had been seen fleeing through the nearby woods. A canine officer arrived quickly on the scene. The handler deployed his police dog to the ground, allowing the animal to catch a scent near the picnic bench. The canine unit began tracking through the woods, following a foot trail that led out of the park and toward a residential street. The handler reported over the radio that the dog had picked up a promising track along a trail leading behind a house. Team members moved up in support, keeping a watchful eye on the surrounding shadows. The canine followed the trail directly up to the back of a house on a neighboring lane, where the animal signaled that the scent track ended at an open gate. Past that residence, the track went cold. The handler made the operational decision to call the track at that location, signaling to dispatch that no further forward movement could be sustained without additional leads. At the crime scene, officers confirmed that both young men showed no signs of life and were not breathing. Detectives were called to initiate a double homicide investigation. In law enforcement, there is an established principle that for homicide investigators, the likelihood of solving a violent crime is significantly higher if a solid lead is established within the first 48 hours. The clock was already ticking. Lead Detective Pearson arrived on the scene and met with Detective O'Reina and the crime scene investigation team. The scene was centered around a designated park picnic bench situated near the trees. Detective Pearson took stock of the situation. 2 young men were deceased at the location. The first victim was identified as 19-year-old Aiden Reynolds, born in Cartersville, Georgia. Aiden worked as a delivery driver and was an aspiring musician who dreamed of creating a career in the arts. He left behind a devoted mother, a father, and a younger sister. The second victim was identified as 17-year-old John Pendrick. John was Aiden's best friend, born 260 miles away in Philerica, Georgia. John had recently begun working as an oil technician. He was an energetic teenager who enjoyed skateboarding, riding motorcycles, and camping outdoors. He left behind a mother, a stepfather, and 3 siblings. Detective Pearson approached the picnic table to conduct an initial visual examination of the scene. The physical dynamics indicated a sudden and brutal attack. John had sustained gunshot wounds to his arm, chest, back, and torso. The position of his body suggested that when he collapsed from his injuries, he fell against the wooden bench. Aiden had been shot once in the chest, once under the arm, and 3 times in the back, indicating he had attempted to turn and run away when the shooting began. Neither young man had seen the attack coming. Scattered across the grass and on top of the wooden table were shell casings. Crime scene technicians located 13 9mm shell casings clustered tightly in the immediate area. Detective Pearson observed that the tight grouping of the casings suggested a single shooter using a single magazine, as a standard 9mm firearm magazine could easily hold that number of rounds. Beside each victim lay a cellular telephone. One phone was visibly damaged. To protect the potential evidence stored within the devices, detectives placed both cell phones into airplane mode to prevent any remote data deletion commands from being received. Additionally, while examining John's body, technicians discovered an item tucked into his waistband. Upon closer inspection, it proved to be an imitation firearm, a plastic replica or BB gun, which he had carried with him to the park. While the forensic team continued processing the physical evidence, Detective Pearson turned his attention to Kayla, John's girlfriend, who remained waiting in the back of a patrol vehicle. She was the individual who had called 911 and represented the primary eyewitness to the moments immediately following the gunshots. Detective Pearson and Detective O'Reina introduced themselves, expressing their sincere condolences for the devastating loss she had just experienced. Pearson asked her about the depth of the relationship between Aiden and John, and Kayla affirmed that the two were inseparable best friends and that the three of them spent almost all their time together. Detective Pearson asked Kayla to recount the events of the day leading up to their arrival at the park. Kayla explained that an individual had contacted them, wanting to purchase $400 worth of marijuana. She stated that Aiden had been communicating with this potential buyer through the social media application Instagram. When asked for the buyer's name, she indicated that no formal name was provided during the exchange. She explained that the buyer suggested meeting at this specific park, so the three of them drove over together. Kayla maintained that as soon as they parked, she fell asleep in the vehicle and was only awakened by the sound of gunfire. She stated she did not witness a weapon being drawn, but caught a brief glimpse of two figures dressed in all dark clothing running away through the darkness, suspecting they were young black males. Detective Pearson found the circumstances noteworthy. The park was tucked deep inside a residential community, a location unlikely to be selected by an outsider unfamiliar with the local layout. Pearson asked Kayla if there was anything else she had not yet disclosed that might assist the investigation. She insisted she had shared everything she knew. Reflecting on the initial details, detectives suspected a drug-related robbery, commonly referred to as a drug rip. Patrol officers reviewed the path taken by the police canine earlier in the night. The dog had tracked from the picnic bench straight to a residence on a nearby street, alerting near an open gate. When officers had previously knocked on the door of that residence, an interior light went off, and no one answered despite repeated efforts to establish contact. Detectives recognized the need to identify who resided at that home, as it sat merely a quarter-mile from the shooting site. Simultaneously, patrol officers located another house situated near the park entrance that possessed an exterior security camera pointed toward the parking area. The homeowner confirmed the camera was active, but due to an internet outage at the residence, the recorded video could not be immediately retrieved or downloaded. Detectives made arrangements to secure the footage as soon as internet connectivity was restored, hoping the video might capture the suspects arriving at or fleeing from the scene. Meanwhile, the investigative team returned to police headquarters to focus on digital evidence. Forensic specialists attempted to gain access to the cellular phones recovered from the victims. Specialists successfully extracted data from John's phone despite a damaged charging port. However, Aiden's phone presented severe technical obstacles. A partial extraction yielded no usable call logs or messaging history. Forensics informed detectives that physical repairs would be necessary before any internal data could be retrieved from Aiden's device. With Aiden's phone temporarily inaccessible, Detective Pearson turned his attention to the data retrieved from John's phone. While reviewing the message history between Aiden and John from earlier that night, Pearson discovered a Significant text message sent by Aiden around 11:30 in the evening, roughly 1 hour prior to the homicide. In the message, Aiden wrote to John, asking what John would think if Aiden decided to rob the individual they were meeting. This text introduced a critical new perspective to the investigation. If Aiden had been planning to rob the prospective buyer, the meeting may have escalated into violence when the other party resisted or anticipated the theft. Notably, Kayla had omitted any mention of Aiden's proposed robbery scheme during her initial interview. Believing she possessed additional context, Detective Pearson called Kayla back to headquarters for a second conversation. Pearson met Kayla in an interview room, emphasizing her role as the key witness, who knew the context leading up to the incident. He invited her to share any additional details she might have recalled. Kayla disclosed that Aiden had indeed called John earlier that evening, stating he had a lucrative opportunity or play for them. She then revealed a potential motive involving past disputes, explaining that a couple of months prior, Aiden had allegedly taken $90 from a local female acquaintance during a promised marijuana transaction. Without delivering the product, Kayla provided a nickname for the female acquaintance and indicated where she resided in the nearby area. Recognizing a potential lead centered on retaliation, Detective Pearson drove to the street mentioned by Kayla, which happened to be the very lane where the police canine had tracked on the night of the crime. As Pearson arrived, he observed the house located a quarter-mile from the park, noting that individuals were sitting on the front porch. Accompanied by investigator Stevens, Pearson approached the residence and introduced himself to the young woman living there. Pearson asked if she was aware of the recent tragedy at the park and brought up the allegation made by Kayla regarding a $90 dispute with Aiden. The young woman firmly denied ever being ripped off by Aiden, stating she had never engaged in a transaction with him. While she acknowledged hearing rumors that Aiden had previously run off on other individuals, she maintained that neither she nor anyone close to her had any conflict with him. She expressed a genuine desire to assist the police in identifying those responsible for the violence in her neighborhood. Although the interview cleared the young woman of direct involvement, Pearson remained without a definitive suspect identity, with court orders for social media records pending. The risk grew that perpetrators might attempt to destroy evidence or abscond as time passed. 4 days after the tragedy, a major breakthrough occurred when